This morning we are honoring our sister Sharon Nichols, who has transcended on to a higher plane. We give thanks for the time that Sharon decided to be here with us. And so it is. I stand here grateful to know that every day that I wake up is a new season. Every moment in my day is a new season. And I give thanks for this. I give thanks knowing that God is moving in and through me, that there is a power greater than all, that is within us all, that permeates everywhere. Everywhere that we are, our God is. And it moves in and through us as us. And I'm so grateful to know that that power, that presence is right here, right now, within me, within each and every one of us, within this room, within this space. And I'm so grateful to be able to know that the power and presence of God is moving in and through each and every person who decided to show up today. I'm blessing this service knowing that each and every person here is giving from whatever that holiness, that love, that space, they're giving from that place. I give thanks for the choir, the music ministry, because they set the tone. I give thanks for the ministers who show up here. I give thanks for the practitioners. I give thanks for the health and wellness who are out there making sure that we stay safe. I give thanks for just being able to be in this place at 4130 Telegraph Avenue. I give thanks for the AV team to make it possible that we are able to share this service with everyone. I give thanks for Reverend Dereca for showing up here in person to be able to give the word as she always does so eloquently. I'm just so grateful to be able to speak this word right here and right now. I'm just blessing the service knowing that all is well. All is well, no matter what's going on outside or anywhere else. All is well because God is. And I give thanks for this. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Zara, Vanessa, and Trevelyan. That was wonderful. Welcome. Welcome here to EASTBAY Church. Good morning. My name is Reverend Sherry, and I'm here to thank you for just being here with us today. We are an open and inclusive community, and we welcome everyone. If you are visiting us for the first time, we thank you for coming to visit us. If you are here with us virtually, you'll find a link to our guest book in the chat. And for those who are in the room, please accept our visitors packet. There is a form in there that you can fill out, and we would love for that to happen. Our prayer room is open after service. And if you're online, visual, there should be a link on how to get into the prayer room. If you are here, there are practitioners here to pray with you after service, if you would like prayer. So, those are the formalities. They have to do that to keep the service going. However, now, I would like to introduce, I'm not going to go to a big old long thing because everybody knows who she is, but this one here, I feel like I grew up with her here in this church. Yeah, we go back and to the beginning, our beginning. And I honor her so much because there's so many things outside of church that I felt like I was holding on her to her and helping me develop who I am. And so I just love her because she was there allowing me to do that with her so graciously. And to this day, she still loves me as much as I love her. So we're just going to call her up, Reverend Dereca Blackmon. Yes.
That's right.
I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind
one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community.
Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to glorify God, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as love.
I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God, for it is written, "True love has the power to heal and transform any situation and bring deep meaning to our lives. Love is patient, love is kind, it always honors, always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails." Thich Nhat Hanh, 1 Corinthians 13.
As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as a beacon of light, growing with us with love and wisdom.
Knowing that I and my beloved community must become that which we intend to bring forth and experience in our new minister, I know now these truths about myself. I am inspiring, uplifting, and activating our community to live in harmony with all life.
I am igniting individual and collective energetic movement towards spiritual truth and freedom. I am modeling and supporting profound levels of connection, healing, revealing, and growth in self and community. I am cultivating an environment in which social justice and care for the needs of our greater community is part of our culture. I am engaging in mystical teaching and practices that support deep personal and collective transformation and connection to oneness.
As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will glorify God and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful. God is gracious. Amen.
Welcome, my name is Imani West, and here are community announcements. If you are visiting us for the first time or stopping by, sign our guest book and tell us more about you. You can find the link to the guest book in the chat or visit www.ebcrs.org. We welcome Reverend Dereca Blackmon, our speaker today, and amazing music from our intergenerational ensemble. At EASTBAY, we have licensed practitioners who are able to pray on your behalf. Please don't hold your concerns alone. Join our practitioners in our virtual prayer room. See the link on the online chat or on our website.
Just be natural.
There's a lot going on at EASTBAY. Here are activities. Thanks for coming for our Health and Wellness Ministry's first annual Walk for Love event around Lake Merritt. It was a huge success. We look forward to our second annual walk next year. Today at 12:30 p.m., our Latino ministry will host Feliz Dia de Muertos Remembrance Day. There are still time to bring photos to our altar today. Check out our website for details. Our food angels, along with Faces of EASTBAY, will host our food distribution. Food bags and boxes are available for pick up Wednesday between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Join our midweek power hour. You cannot miss this. Our speaker this week is practitioner Bathsheba Harambe. Her topic is the power of breath. This Saturday, 11 a.m., November 5th, join the Women's Empowerment Circle to connect with the women and the East Bay community. This powerful group meets online. Please contact Reverend Sherry Greer for more details at 510-610-9507 or Pamela Nash at 510-703-8756. Get ready for our first karaoke night! Woo! Hosted by the Community Outreach Ministry! Woo! We're gonna be doing some fundraising and fun as we're fundraising the Holiday Adoption Program! Woo! Join us in person or online Friday, November 12th from 7 to 10. Buy tickets on our website. East Bay is a community filled with talented members and friends. This fall, we're introducing a new program that allows everyone to get involved with East Bay either remotely or in person. We're asking for 2 hours every 30 days to be in service to the East Bay community and beyond. Are you able to serve? Are you able to make a difference? If your answer is yes, please join us. There is a place for everyone. Remember, all of our announcements and events are on our website at www.ebcrs.org. Remember, my name is Imani West. Thank you again for being with us today. It wouldn't be the same without you. Have a great week! Woo! And happy Halloween!
Good morning. Good morning. I am Stacy Sodick, practitioner here at East Bay and Director of Youth and Family. And I just want to thank the youth. Zara, your singing, and Leo, your drumming, just excellent this morning. It was beautiful to partake of that again. Also, Imani, I'm going to tell you, I don't know how to do all those effects, so we need the young people. That was fabulous. It was so funny. And just warming for Princess Imani to present. It was very cute. So thank you for that, Imani. And I just want to tell you who our team is and then give you some announcement around what's happening for us now as we're coming back from COVID. So our Sherry Greer is leading the young adult ministry, and she's an advisor for the youth and family ministry in general. Reverend Gill is our youth minister, and he is speaking for Brentwood this morning, Brentwood CSL. We also have had some really wonderful programs brought by Lola Pratt. She is a master Toastmaster, and she's bringing a junior Toastmasters club for us to our teens, and we're hoping to expand that abroad out to the high schools. Lynn Daniels is a sacred activism ministry volunteer, and she is heading a youth program. And Fabiana Crenshaw is coming back to us, and she is our extraordinary youth leader and artist. So we have a really wonderful team, and on the horizon, we have wonderful things planned. And so continue to support our youth. I forgot Cynthia. Dr. Cynthia also is working with the young kids, and she's working with the garden. So just briefly, the back, of course, was
kind of dusty and it needed to be sanitized. And we need to pull some things out of there because we're going to need to sanitize often. So we have to really streamline what we have back there. So we're moving things and cleaning and organizing how we're going to move forward with youth in the back. So that's taking a little bit of time. We will probably be back, I would say, right in the beginning of January, maybe not January 1st, but soon after. And the teens will be meeting as well, and we have a new teen program. So the teens may start meeting a little bit sooner because we have the Friday night live program that Imani was mentioning. So if you have teens or you know of teens that may be interested, we are going to be starting every first Friday, so starting November 5th from 6:30 to 9:30 here at the church. And please encourage your teen to bring a friend. Thank you so much.
dance of life is God inspired. I am dancing, my faith is strong. I am dancing, my faith is strong. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
I am lifted in the love of the Holy Spirit. Oh, what a joy. God is being, raise the Spirit all day long. Praise the Spirit all day long. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. 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 Hallelujah, hallelujah. There's a silence in the stillness of the Holy Spirit. Oh, what a light God is shining. Let us see it everywhere. Let us be it everywhere. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. 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 Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. Okay, your turn. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. 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 Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Give it up for our youth and family ministry. Let's just celebrate our hallelujah today. I want to celebrate our young and beautiful Zara. Yes, just celebrate her. And Leo, Paris Page, Vanessa Wynn. We want to celebrate Trevlin Lee. It's my turn to give some thank yous. I got to give thank yous to Brett and JJ and everyone on the AV team. Give thanks to folks who are in the room and not in the room supporting the service. Laretha, Kimberly, Christine, Kay Suzanne, and Paris are going to be here after school. I think Ty is also a part of the AV team. I don't want to forget anybody, but I just want to send the gratitude out to everybody. Arlene, who is always somewhere working, so I want to thank her as well. Recognize our sister Sharon in that transition. Recognize the celebration today of our Latinx community. Grateful to be a small part of that. And of course, I have to give love in the flow of how I've received it. Got to make sure I recognize Stacy and the power of the youth and family ministry. Got to recognize, y'all know Reverend E says everything that's good about how I teach comes from the years in youth and family ministry, because I'll tell you what, the crew I had was not trying to hear no gobbledygook, no jargon, no whatever. They weren't trying to hear none of that. They had questions and they wanted answers. I had them youth, young adult folks, and some of y'all children, thank you very much. And that is a powerful service. And of course, my partner in that time was Reverend Dr. Sherry Greer. Give it up for my loving friend who sat there with me and figured it out together. And I'm grateful for you and your presence this morning, this way you set the tone for our service today. So as has been said, I'm Reverend Dereca Blackmon. I am proud to be in ministry here for the EASTBAY Church. And I use she and they gender pronouns, and I really always like to talk about my gender pronouns, because you can't tell what kind of pronouns somebody uses. Do they use she and her, he and him, they and them? You can't tell just by looking at somebody. So sometimes you have to ask, sometimes you have to hear about it. And I went a little bit more into that today because it's Youth Sunday. And we have this way of projecting onto younger generations that they're talking about something we can't relate to or understand. We have a way of deciding that the things they're thinking about, they're too young to be thinking about or talking about. And so I just thought it was time that I just go ahead and lean into this. So I came to preach today. And on top of it, I've had some personal experiences, because you know I go best when I go with my personal experiences. And I had some personal experiences in the last couple of weeks. I found myself at my college reunion, and we were having a conversation about Dave Chappelle and the comedy special that he's done, specials actually now, where he's made some commentary about folks who are transgender. And as a person who strives for allyship in that community, it would not be right for me to stand in front of this pulpit today and not speak on it. So I intend to speak on it. And as such, all the things that have been happening in the last couple of weeks for me have really required, I might even say forced, that the topic for today is the power of intention. And so much about what happens for me in my life has to do with just my willingness to go with the flow. I wish I could tell you I'm showing up here intentionally. What is really happening is I'm surrendering, and then I just get in whatever it takes me where I'm supposed to go. Your will, not mine. That's a real thing in my life. So for me to be talking about intention today is not as a model of such. Today, my talking about intention is as a noticing, a reporter, if you will, of how it's showing up in the world around me. So I want to start with my brother, Dave Chappelle. And I say this because I start from a place of respect. And I also want to start from the place that seems most important to everyone. I have not seen the latest special. So this is really actually not a conversation about Dave Chappelle, because the conversation about one person is really about all of us. So when I was at my college reunion, there was a group of about 15 black folks talking about transgender identity and transgender issues. And you know, when Black folks are together in the Blackness, we have a special kind of relaxation that happens. There's a special kind of exhale. You know, Eddie Murphy did a little thing on the bus one time about white folks being with just white folks, and just the imagination that we have about what happens when we're not around. It's wild. But I can assure you that there are some things that I've experienced when Black folks get together, that there's a relaxation that happens. And in that relaxation, this conversation happened about transgender folks. Many of us have a lot of questions about this new conversation that there is not just two genders, right? That there's not just men and women, that there's a conversation about more than that, and a spectrum of gender, and folks who are non-binary, as in they don't just see the two, or folks who are non-conforming and aren't actually going to go with whatever your ideas of this is. It's okay if it might feel a little uncomfortable, if this wasn't what you really thought you was coming to church for, but this is how we teach around here. I mean, if you knew you was coming and I was coming, and my blessings to you if you're just meeting me. But if you knew you was coming and I was coming, you already know that my intention, if it ain't nothing else, is to make it a little uncomfortable. Because, you know, that's where we grow. I actually did some research on that at Stanford, if you like that kind of thing. Uncomfortable is actually where we grow. So if it's feeling a little uncomfortable, where's she going with this? That's okay. I'm just going into this discomfort to see what we can learn there. So folks are standing around, and we have these questions. Okay, well, what is this they, them thing that people are talking about? People want to be referred to as they and them and there, and it's not grammatically correct. We're going to get to your grammatical feelings in a minute. But what I want to say first is folks are just speaking up to say their way of saying it is different. The way they see themselves is different than the framework we might have used. So I, over my 5 years at Stanford, had 4 transgender staff people. I worked with transgender students, and they taught me so much. They labored under my beliefs about things to educate me from their own lives and experiences. And after doing that, right, how many folks in your community feel like you have had to educate other people about your community by sharing your pain? Anybody felt that? You know, my community, I want you to know what it's like for being a woman, for being a person of color, for being queer. I got to educate you with the pain, because that's going to get your attention. So they said they were tired of that. Anybody get tired talking about the pain of your community? I mean, it can be tiring. They say, well, we don't want to just talk about the pain anymore. We want to actually talk about the idea of gender. And I was like, well, I hear you, but I don't think people are going to get that, right? I had a lot of opinion about what would work based upon my expertise of what had worked in the past. See, I have a lot of expertise. And so I brought that to bear in the conversation and told them, well, you know, the way it used to be, see, I had another transgender friend who said it used to be like that. I'm not talking about Dave Chappelle, I'm just talking about me, right? I had a friend, and that's how it, if you see the special, you get to it. But I told these folks, these transgender folks who had come up with a new idea to talk about everybody's gender, I said, no, that's not the way we should do it. And they fought. See, because I want to talk about the intention of fighting and how we see it and what it actually might be. And by the time they created this workshop, it was brilliant as soon as I got out of the way. Anybody need to get out of the way so somebody can be brilliant? I mean, you might not see it first, but just try it, getting out the way. And so one question, I can't tell you about the whole workshop and the time we have, but the first question they asked the group is, when did you first realize, when did you first learn what your gender is? Now, I asked this question to my classmates at the reunion, and they did what some of you might do. I didn't learn it. What do you mean? I always knew. And I said, let's think about that again. So just think about it. When did you first know, if you operated in the binary construct, that you were a boy or a girl? Now, you may want to say you always knew, but there typically is a few moments where somebody says to you, this is what a boy is, and this is what a boy does, and this is what a boy doesn't do. This is what a girl is, right? This is what she has. This is what she says. This is what she does. This is what she wears. This is how she sits. This is how she acts. My own daddy was how she chews. I mean, you know. Some of us, maybe not you, some of us had a whole lot of teaching. A whole lot. See, older folks tell me, well, we didn't have that back in my day. I say, you ain't have a girl that didn't want to wear a dress? Oh, well, that was me, they say, right? You didn't have a boy that tried to play with some dolls and got told a lot of things. So I've talked about this, but I wanted to bring it up again because it's so critical for us in this gap that we imagine between ourselves and the young people. Across that gap is an opportunity to do something that I'm going to offer to all of us. Dave, myself, this is what I've learned. When you meet a community that feels different to you, when you encounter another community, here are the commandments. I'm going to actually give you some commandments of what to do. It's 3 things, and they're all listen. Just give you the headline. Let me just go to the punchline. They're all listen. The first thing you listen to is what folks have to say about themselves. Imagine if your whole story of your people was your people's version. If no one got to tell your story but the people who held your identity. Women were the only people who ever got to tell who women were, right? If Native people had only gotten to tell the story, what might our history book have looked like? If Native people got to tell what should go in there about them. So the first thing you want to listen to is who people say they are. That's the first thing. And then, if you are blessed enough to have people who are in the business of educating, because just because I'm black don't mean I feel like teaching you about that today, right? That if you are blessed enough to have people around you who are in the business of educating, listen to what they want in terms of support. Listen to what they ask for from you. Right? Listen to who they say they are, and then listen if they tell you what they want from you. Pay really close attention, because that's actually what we call marching orders. Now, there's a third thing that I'm going to really advise you to listen to. I want you to listen to that voice inside you that tells you at this moment, when you have met a new community, learned who they are, heard what they want you to do, that little voice that says, this is a good time for me to make a comment, give advice, say my deep insights, offer a critique about how you might want to talk about yourself, right? Represent yourself, how you might make it easier for me to understand you. If that voice is inside you, then I'm going to tell you what the young people on YouTube say, go lay down. If that's the voice, if that's, you see these people, you hear what they're saying, they're talking about their joy and their pain. They tell you what I need for you to do is support, help, talk to, if they tell you what to do and what you think you ought to do, is offer your critique about how they should live their lives. And typically this conversation is going on like the trans community of color, for instance, with some people whose very lives are in danger. So if they blessed you with some marching orders about what you ought to do, and you think that what you ought to do is talk, go lay down. Take a nap. It's really good for you. Finding the quiet, still space within you. And if you get up and you still want to criticize, go back and lay down. Until you come up with something else. I stood in the crucible of my ignorance for too long, thinking I was an expert on somebody else's experience. Some of us, if we just take a minute, know exactly what that feels like. Everybody got an opinion about who you are. Everybody got an assignment about what you should do to make them feel okay about you. Everybody thinks this about you is something they ought to have. What is it? I got a right to my opinion. There's a difference between appreciation, because I understand we got to have comedians. That's all right. There's a difference between appreciation and appropriation, and it has to do with the amount of time you spent listening. Not to one person so you can say they represent the whole other community, but you stop to listen and learn about Dia de los Muertos instead of thinking you could actually dress up in a costume and got it. Do you understand? It's that time that you spend listening that really is the difference. And giving credit to a community, amplifying their own voices. You want to talk? Give people a platform to tell their own stories, right? That's the business I want to be in. I had to. In case you're wondering, I had to say it. I'm so grateful that God gives me things to say that are controversial sometimes. Because what other purpose would you have for having me preach? It's my why. It's my why. Okay. So we're talking about the power of intention and the habit that we have of fighting, right? So I wanted to get into it with Mr. Chappelle, but I really just knew that all I needed to talk about was my own failings, my own fighting that I had with the community before I surrendered to listen. So one of the biggest fights I've had in my life was with a coworker. Anybody ever have trouble with somebody at work? Yeah, it's quite a few hands in here, right? And, I've struggled. Some of you who have heard me preach know I went to therapy and all the things. And I saw them recently. And 2 weeks ago today, y'all know I'm a big fan of hip hop. When I'm supposed to say, for practicing for the mic, every time I come in, Brett tells me, say, Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. See, I never choose that one. And for those of you who know Run DMC, I say, Peter Piper picked peppers and Run Rock rhymes, and they all laugh at me. But it's fun because I'm a hip hop head is what they call us. And so 2 weeks ago today, I went to see a battle, a hip hop battle. Live, if you're familiar with the brand Versus, and it's Youth Sunday, so I'm really talking to Youth Sunday folks. If you're familiar with the brand Versus, there was a classic hip-hop battle from the titans of hip-hop, Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One. Oh, look, I got some heads up. Even the mamas and the grandmamas know Big Daddy Kane. They're like, oh, I remember him. So there was a battle of the titans, KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane, and like everything else, if you look for the similarities, how are things alike? I could see in my battle and their battle some similarities, right? And so in the classic hip hop battle, there's a lot of things that you have to be paying attention to. One is crowd control. It's important that you try to get the crowd on your side. So what I realized in hindsight, that a lot of what was going on in this competition with my coworker was a battle for popularity. It was a battle for somebody to say, well, I was right, or I was on point, or my work was great. See, we were doing the competition thing like we was old school hip hoppers when we weren't supposed to be. Anybody have some competition at work? I mean, not you. They were trying to compete with you is, what was happening. And so here we are poised for battle, talking to everybody on the sidelines. Do you know what she said to me? And then I heard that she went over to such and such's office and said testimony, little things about crowd control. You're trying to make sure everybody's on your side. The other thing that's important is that you, as younger people say, you floss on them. You have to have a certain kind of style, right, that distinguishes you from them and everyone else. And so we both had a little cockiness to us, right? We both showed up. I know you can't imagine me being like that, but we both had a way in which we showed up in the space, repping our hood, repping our style, showing off that hip-hop swag, as it were. I would show up, and I could talk to you about the community I was there to serve. I was eloquent. I could get in front of a mic and spit game. You understand what I'm saying? And so could she, right? She had a rep. She had a crew. She had a style. And I always felt that feeling that I wanted to battle. I wanted to fight. And, her crew, the people that was on her side, I wasn't down with them. And they wasn't down with me. Now, I know you don't think it was this intense in your workplace. Perhaps you weren't actually on the stage, but maybe you was part of the posse, part of the crew that kept it going, that was in the back like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. At work, when she came over, she said something to you, was like, girl, yeah, right? Maybe something a little bit like that. That's how it was kind of hip-hop-ish. And then there are moments where the community faces a challenge. And that's when you have to keep it real. That's when Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One and the Juice Crew and the Boogie Down Production, people came together when violence was attacking our community, when people were dying by the thousands from crack cocaine. They came together with songs like Self-Destruction and the Stop the Violence movement, and people forget all the positivity that hip-hop brung, that classic hip-hop brung to the community. And so in the moment, I looked at that and I said, well, one of the songs was, we're all in the same gang. And when I really thought about what my coworker and I were trying to accomplish, we weren't working for different companies. We weren't rivals in that kind of way. We actually were supposed to be, if we had paid attention, on the same team. So I want to tell you that during the battle, both of the MCs took time to take a break and acknowledge people. They brought Mad Lion to the stage, and they brought the old school hip hoppers, and Crazy Legs was still on the ground break dancing. They brought the DJs in, and they brought Roxanne Shante so they could have a woman on the stage and give her her props to say, you always see a man MC bring out a woman, but let us tell you, Big Daddy Kane say, she put us all on. Now, if you're not into hip-hop, you may be feeling a little bit lost at this moment, but I want to bring you back to the core of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone outside a community saying, I want to acknowledge this sister, because sisters don't always get acknowledged in hip-hop. You with me now? I just want to acknowledge somebody who doesn't always get a lot of acknowledgement. So the best part of this, the aha moment for me, as it were, is that one of my former students, who's now very grown, called me and said, I just want to know, I just want you to know I get it now. After seeing that battle, I got how powerful and positive hip-hop was. Because, see, hip-hop with us was not just a music, it was a culture. Hard for you to understand if you weren't a part of that moment of recognizing who I was and the power I could create without any instruments in my school whatsoever. The ingenuity of it, the technical skill of what DJs were accomplishing has not been celebrated. And so what Dream said to me, my student said to me, is it was transformative. I had a moment to see exactly what you have been talking about all these years. And so in the battle of me and my coworker, and in the battle of the legendary KRS-One and the legendary Big Daddy Kane, the winner was hip-hop. The winner was our students. The winner was and always is the work, because half the time the competition is about who's going to work the best. Same side, same game, right? I know you think it's about the promotion. It's not. It's not. So this thing about intention and fighting, see, the intention there was to celebrate the work. This thing about intention and fighting, one of the places it seems to come up the most is with our partners. I talk a lot about that, and so I'm just going to say the fight that you're in right now with the partner who is there or not there, and it might be a small thing. It might be a small thing that's been grating on you for a while. Nobody know about that. I mean, you ain't said nothing yet, but that's all you've said so far. No one's noticed exactly how exasperated. So that thing that feels like fighting, or perhaps it's a full-blown alarm fire, whatever that, or it's a fight with the one who hasn't shown up in the time you were expecting. Maybe that's it. What's the intention? To be intentional in partnership is to say you want partnership. Because a lot of times the frame from which we're looking at things, the viewpoint from which we've decided to fight is the idea, the lie that you're trying to hurt me. You're trying to hurt me. You know I can't concentrate when you do that. Like you're intentionally trying to make me not concentrate. Is that really what's going on here? If you love me, you wouldn't be you, the person I decided to partner with. Wasn't that the agreement that I would be me and you would be you? Since when I can't be me? I mean, if what you're supposing is going to change is fundamental, your intention might not be partnering with that person as they are today. You understand what I'm saying? There's a person that you might imagine, and then there's a person as they are today. I'm not talking about your experience. I'm talking about what I experienced just last week. Do you understand? I took it personally. I definitely took it personally. You are trying to mess up my reunion weekend. Now, if you actually believe that your partner is trying to mess it up for you, the reevaluation assessment effort is on you. I had a boyfriend back in college. I was complaining about him and telling him all about himself, or as we would say, reading him up and down. And I got to the end, and he said something that changed my life, and I will never forget. He said, "Wow, you must really be stupid." Oh, that was a good one. And that's real. There's only one of us. Isn't that this metaphysical thing that we teach? There's only one of us. So whatever is going on outside is actually a reflection of what's going on inside. So the thing we have to do is make up our double mind. Either I'm trying to partner with you or I'm trying to fight you. And it has to do with those false beliefs. So just in time for Youth Sunday, I have one more story to share. And it was actually a really, really powerful moment that I was able to bear witness to with my sister and my niece. Now, to give you a little backstory on this situation, my sister and my niece have been fighting quite a bit. And it's been very rough. Rough for the two of them, and rough for all of us in the community around them. You know when something is getting kind of bad and you feel like you have to intervene? You like, okay, this is getting out of hand. It's felt like that sometimes. Like Not how can I judge, but how can I support? What is mine to do here, right? Because if you have given birth or just raised other human beings, because I have some that I gave birth to, one that I gave birth to, and several that I raised. But if you've had that experience, you know it ain't easy. When we were in youth ministry, one of the mothers there who I was giving advice to, she said, you just wait. You got a lot of advice right now, but you just wait. And my sister, just like me, has worked with youth most of her whole life. And it's sure different when it's your own. And so we're all trying to figure out how to be in support. And it was my sister's birthday, and we all came together to celebrate her, and we all gave some words of appreciation and acknowledgement for her. And so when it got to be my turn, I talked about her personality and her style and how fun it was to go to the hip-hop show with her. So, you know, she's my homegirl. And I had to take a moment to speak into existence. Remember, metaphysicians, that is what we do. We speak things into existence, right? Every word we say is a prayer. So I'm just going to remind you of that for the rest of the day, week, month, life. If you could just notice a little bit more often that we speak things into existence. So I said to her, you know, I always keep this Bible prayer in my head. I say it at everything from a christening to a memorial. You'll know them by their fruit. And so what I spoke back to her is, look at these amazing people you have created. In addition to all the work you've done in the world and the friendship and fun we have, let's look at these amazing people you created, because sometimes somebody needs to remind you that they're amazing, right? Somebody else. It's so important to have other people in your life who can speak to you about your children. Amen, Sherry? And Stacy, I know you know. And she received that. You could see it on her face. And it was a blessing for my daughter, Nia, to be there as well. And so Nia went next. And she gave an acknowledgement of the gift my sister was to me, but also the gift that my sister was to her, because my sister was that person who always saw my daughter in the wonderfulness. I mean, always saw her in the wonderfulness. And I'm like, you don't see that? That ain't wonderful. And she's like, girl, I know, but you know, she's so this and bright and that and blue, smart. And so as Nia is talking, my sister decides that it's important for her daughter, my niece, who is not in the room, to get her butt downstairs and listen to what people have to say about her on her birthday, right? And she's right. She needed to be in that community of people who were talking positively and celebrating someone. So here come my niece clumping down the stairs, and this community of people who loves them both, we kind of a little nervous. How is this about to go? Because, you know, when you call a teenager and you tell them they got to do something, you better be ready for how that might show up. And so my niece comes down. She takes a long time to say anything. She's sitting on the couch and she's looking down and playing with something. And it felt like the longest little 2 minutes. I was just... woo, and people were telling her, whispering, do this, say this, and she is not that child. She was going to do what she came to do, which is all right. And the first thing she said was, Mama, it's just a phase. So I'm just going to preach from the gospel of Rosie today and tell you, whatever you're going through, it's just a phase. It's just a phase. And somebody ought to tell you, whether it's your coworker or the community that you don't understand, whether it's your partner or it's out of the mouth of a babe, it's just a phase. And then she said, I see you. You keep saying I don't see you, but I do. I see you. And she said it kind of laughing like, I know I've been pretending like just not to see you, but I do. Because the good is never invisible. is always right in front of you, and God is always good, and the good is all there is. I mean, that is one of the core principles. So you might want to be looking for it, because it is there. I see you, I love you, is what she said. The universe is working for our good, even in this what felt to be almost dangerous relationship that was going on here. We was like, okay, we got to get between y'all. She said, I see you, I love you, and I know you got my back. You better speak your word. I know I can speak on even what I sometimes act confused about. I know you got my back. Somebody who isn't acting like it to your way of how it should appear, actually, their intention is not to fight. Their intention is to see you, to love you, to recognize that you have their back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to just go within now and reflect on this intentional way of being. There's a power of intention. And that power is all there is. That divine seed, the individuation of God, comes from the allness that God is. And so as we contemplate the good that God is, it changes our mind about the fight we think we're engaged in. It allows us to actually see it a little differently, listen a little closer. It allows us to be with the idea that only good surrounds me. And as we lean into that consciousness, that idea, we start to have an intention to have a little bit of that for ourselves. To say, perhaps, or mayhap, as folks used to say, mayhap, I am that thing that God is. And that thing that God is animates me, elevates me, shows up as me, drags me if it has to get to work, to get to the pulpit, to come on home, whatever it has to do, that thing is who I am. And so I surrender. I surrender to it and I allow it to live its intention through me. I am intentional about really, truly only one thing, and that's surrender. I'm willing to say, I don't have to know what other people should do. I don't have to fight in order to be recognized at work. I don't have to distrust the person I've decided to be a partner with. I can see it differently. I can think again. And so when I look at the people who come into my life, I realize that if I have an intention of love, then I will not show up with boxing gloves. I will not show up ready to fight. I will not show up trying to control, because I didn't get a partner so I'd have someone to control. I didn't get sent a job so I'd have some place to go fight. I didn't get sent children so I have someone to judge. I came to be loved. And I'm so grateful that I know that that's my intention and the intention of each and every person within the sound of my voice. Whenever, wherever you are seeing this, the intention that each of us, without exception, came to be is love. So there's nothing else for us to do but to take our hands off of it and be intentional to let it go and let God perfect that which concerneth us. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what happens in the soil, but what I know for sure that I know is that I'm willing to be made whole. So I let it go and I let it be, and I invite you to join and agree with me by saying Ashe, Amen, and so it is. So I appreciate folks staying with us. I know we are a little bit over time, but you know the word does what it does. And so this is our time for gracious giving. And I want to invite you to participate in the energetic flow of the word and the world and the community, because that scarcity idea that you don't have enough to give somewhere, give sometime, because it activates a flow in your life. That thing that says, I don't have enough, is creating not enoughness, because thoughts are things. It's not about giving here. We would appreciate that if you love this ministry and it blesses you. That's not what it's about. It's about creating a flow in your life. It says, my source is not my job. My source is not the check I get in the mail. My source is not you. My source is God as me. God as you. And so I invite you to give, whether it's through text message, whether it's physically in the room. Come on, ushers, whatever it is that allows for us to give. Website, however you do that, we appreciate your gifts. So we're going to close out now by blessing this service, and then I'm going to turn it to Zara, who's going to finish out with our youth ministry. God is all there is. I am one with God. This is true for all of us, and as we go forth, we are blessed beyond measure. And so it is.
Everybody, let's say that. I don't have to worry, cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. I can't hear you. I don't have to worry, cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. Oh. For my good. All things are working for my good. God's intentional. God's intentional. Never failing. Never failing. All things are working for my good. God's intentional. God's intentional. Never failing. I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry, cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry, cause it's working for me. It's working for me. It's working for me. Thank you, EASTBAY. Have a great week.